this is Muiriosa here in Landers Outdoor World, and you'll see I have a lovely lecky pole here in my hand. Now what we're going to talk to today is how to take care of your poles. Some things you can do, like common mistakes people make that damage the poles, break the poles, reduce the lifespan of the poles. So the first thing is, we've got a quick release system here. So you pull out your pole and you click it closed wherever you want it at the length you want it, okay? Now, that's the first thing that can go wrong with people. This system is so handy when you're packing away your poles on the hills really quickly, you want to be in and out. It's so efficient, it's so easy, but there's one thing that can go wrong. So when you first get your pole, it might be loose like this, right? So even when it's click closed and you put weight on it, it's going to go down. So what you need to do is tighten it appropriately so that it will grip the inner section, but not so tight that you will break it, okay? So the first mistake people make, if you can come in here, Marie, you'll see you've got a little thing here that you can tighten or loosen. And the first thing people do is when this is open, they tighten it so much that these two black pieces here come together and they close the gap. And then once they tighten this in, you end up cracking this area or breaking this area, okay? So that's not what you don't want to do. So what you want to do is tighten it enough so that once you add the extra bit of pressure of this lock, it will be a nice firm grip, but not so tight as to break it. You'll see now that those black things move closer to each other once you tighten this. So if you had the two black things touching initially with this open, then when you put it together, it'd be too much pressure and it would crack, okay? And you test, you put a bit of weight on it, will it hold? Yes. Generally speaking, you only have to do that once, okay? So that's the first thing to avoid doing. Now, when you're out in the hills, maybe these will get all mucky and dirty and wet. If it's raining, this will be wet. So that's another piece of care you can take. Now, when you're up in the hills and you have to pack it away, you can't be cleaning and drying it all the time. But say when you come down, instead of packing away your poles and firing them into the boot and leaving them there until the next time, what you can, because you see, if that's wet and dirty and mucky, it'll go up into the mechanism, okay? And now a lecky pole is really good and really slow to corrode, but say with some other poles or cheaper poles, it can cause real problems in the interior of the mechanism and cause rust and things like that, and even cause it gets caught when you're trying to pull it in and out, and it's not that easy, okay? So when you've come down off the hills, just take them apart, okay? And with the quick release system, it's really easy. Take them apart, give them a wipe with a cloth if you want to, and just leave them there to dry until you use them the next time. And that means then that there's not going to be any dirt or muck or anything, or minimize dirt or muck going up into the mechanism. Now, so that's another thing. A third thing I can talk to you about actually, and I'm kind of trying to remember what customers come in about when they've had problems with their poles. So another thing people do is, you see these numbers here. I'm chasing you around, Marie, so you have to come into me a bit. See these numbers here, okay? They are lengths to say how, they're quite handy, because say if you're going uphill and you know that you need your pole shorter, you, with a bit of experience of using the pole, you'll know that 115 and 115 here is the number you need to have the right measurement for going uphill, and maybe 120 for going downhill. So very handy for quick adjustment of the poles. It means both poles are going to be the same height because you follow the number. So therefore these numbers are very efficient for using the poles quickly. Now, the thing people do is they go down below the number and then they try and tighten it, and then they're like, oh God, my pole is not going, okay? So then what they might do is over tighten this to get it small enough to fit around this area, which can cause problems as well. Okay, so that's another thing to do. Make sure you don't go above the stop sign and don't go below this. Obviously when you're taking it apart, it's fine to go above the stop sign. Now with some of the other poles, the twisty poles that you might have seen, they have different mechanisms inside that has springs and different things like that. So if you go above the stop sign, that can cause more problems for that. So or it can pull out and it can be quite awkward to get back in again. So just stay within the parameters when you're using the pole. Okay, now that's a few of the most common problems that we encounter, and a few of the common tips you can use to take good care of your poles. We'll talk to you some more in the future about the different types of poles, what they're for, what kind of pole suits you, how to use your pole effectively. But for now, if you have poles, this is how you take care of them. I'm Muiriosa. Thank you very much for watching.